Most of you know that I was there live, and for those of you that don't know, I was there live. So I've got a brand new answer for when somebody asks me why I'm SmackDown, why I shit on Raw constantly, and why I constantly promote Team Blue. Well, SmackDown didn't give us Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar in 1 minute and 26 seconds. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and let's wash the Survivor Series taste out of our mouths and talk about the November 22nd edition of SmackDown Live. Raw's still a shit show. I will say, for those of you that didn't watch it, the ECW shtick bit that they did on the WWE Network after Raw was cool, but Raw continues to revolve around the New Day, which is stale, Enzo and Cass, who are wandering around backstage naked, and Chris Jericho's clipboard. So there's that. So we go to SmackDown instead, where we open the show with Shane, who comes out and talks about his Survivor Series injury, shows some respect to Team Raw, especially Roman Reigns, who almost destroyed him, in his words, thanks the sole survivors Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, as unlikely as they were, and talks a little bit about the miscommunication and the lack of teamwork between Ambrose and Styles, and they couldn't get along, and it almost cost us the match. Ambrose comes out and mocks Shane, mocks his injury, says, you know, sort of, we won, what's your problem? He brings out James Ellsworth, talks about James Ellsworth eliminating Braun Strowman from the Raw team, refers to him as the MVP of Team SmackDown. He spoils Shane's big surprise for James Ellsworth. You know, Shane's like, no, we're supposed to do this in the back. But he basically announces that Ellsworth is hired. Ellsworth has a WWE contract, obviously being a SmackDown contract. Shane confirms it, says, Ambrose, you really need the night off. And by you need the night off, I need you out of the friggin' building. Then Ambrose leaves. Styles comes down, freaks out. He says, you need to fire Ambrose. You need to take away his title shot at TLC. You need to get rid of that funny-looking guy there. You can't give Ellsworth a contract tonight. In fact, if he wants competition, let him face me tonight. I need a warm-up for TLC. Let's have a ladder match. Ladder match for his contract. Ellsworth says, hey, I've already beaten you twice, which I know pisses off almost everybody. And if I beat you in this ladder match tonight, I get another shot at your WWE Championship. Dean Ambrose, who was supposed to leave, doesn't, and shows up behind Shane and James Ellsworth, patting them both on the back as we leave the segment. Going to the back, we see a photo shoot with still IC champion, my boy The Miz, and his wife Maurice, getting their photos taken. They got the glitz and the glamour and all that sort of thing. It's interrupted by Daniel Bryan, who says that that The Miz and Maurice made SmackDown look horrible at Survivor Series last night. Miz's obvious response is, yeah, but did I win? Yeah, but did I win? Did I keep the title on SmackDown? Which is fully true. Daniel Bryan says there was another guy that was screwed over at Survivor Series, and that's Kalisto. So I'm going to give him a shot at your Intercontinental Championship right now. So we get The Miz versus Kalisto in an Intercontinental Championship match that, let's be real, doesn't last too long, but here we go. Collar and elbow tie-up, and Miz works the arm drag by Kalisto, and Kalisto tosses Miz to the outside and hits him with a suicide tope as we go to commercial break. Coming back from the break, we get a quick fury from Kalisto, including a springboard, senton, a hurricane rod, and a dropkick. But there's a distraction and a clothesline by Baron Corbin, just like at Survivor Series. Skull-crushing finale, Miz retains. Baron Corbin hangs around in the ring to pick up Kalisto for the end of days. Super kick out of nowhere to The Miz by Dolph Ziggler on the ramp. Says both of these feuds will continue. Alexa Bliss is in the back, bugging Shane and Daniel Bryan for her title shot, and they announce it for TLC, and she bickers with Becky Lynch. I don't want to say bickers because I'm a fan of both of them, but like their dialogue is a bit repetitive. You know, they talk some shit back and forth. Their match is announced for TLC. People think I'm nuts, which is fine, that's nothing new. Raw gave their women's division a chance to see what they could do inside Hell in the Cell, at Hell in the Cell. This is the TLC pay-per-view. There's probably going to... Okay, we got ladders and tables and chairs matches, which we'll talk about in a second. There's usually more than one TLC match these days at the TLC pay-per-view. Nobody's going to agree with me. I understand that. I understand that in advance. Let these two go at it in a TLC match. Natalya comes out and blames, through some convoluted logic and talking about her cat, figures out that it's Becky Lynch's fault that they didn't win the match at Survivor Series, which was, I will say, I have to say, I usually don't have much to say about Nia. This is nothing to do with SmackDown, but I do have to say this much. Being in the arena and seeing Naomi get absolutely plowed over by Nia Jax was one of my highlights of the night, because I'm a terrible person. Anyways, we're going to get Becky versus Natty. Tonight, Ambrose shows up in the back with pizza, because he's supposed to be gone, and Shane McMahon proceeds to pull his hair out. Tag Team Turmoil for the #1 contendership to the Tag Team Championships at TLC. 6-man, so we didn't have the Headbangers, which is just making me sad at this point. We didn't have the Spirit Squad, which is fine. Hype Bros and the Ascension start. Ascension start with some cheap shots and a beatdown. Ryder and Victor trade punches. Clotheslines by Connor. Chops by Victor. Rake of the Eyes and a mudhole by Connor. Double neckbreaker by Ryder. And a Hype Rider get a quick win for the Hype Bros. The next out are Breezango. The Hype Brothers toss out Breezango, and there's a senton by Ryder. We go to commercial break. Because here's the thing about a Tag Team Turmoil match, and this is where I gotta side with guys like General Jerry, guys like JD from New York, and others that have mentioned this. A Tag Team Turmoil match is a series of very, very short matches. If you've got a short match, don't break it up with a commercial, but whatever. Breezango, thumb to the eye, drop kick by Ryder, slingshot elbow drop by Breezango, and Breezango get the win. Breezango versus American Alpha goes like this. Super kick sandwich by Breezango, but Gable sits into a roll-up and gets the win for Alpha. So Breezango are out. They get rid of the vaudevillains just about as quickly with a dropkick German suplex combination that gets rid of the vaudevillains. And we come down to the match that you knew we were going to get if you looked at the graphic at all. You know, you got Alpha and the Usos on the graphic. Everybody else is irrelevant, but they start off, collar and elbow tie-up, and Jay backs off immediately. A takedown and a headbutt and a headlock by Jimmy on Jordan. Double back suplexes by the Usos, headlock by Jay, high knee by Jay, corner forearm by Jimmy, and a mudhole stomp. Corner chops by Jimmy, headlock again by Jay. Jordan tosses both the Usos out of the ring, and a drop kick by Gable. 10 corner punches by Gable, and I have to stop here. The one thing I will say, and yes, it's childish as hell, and yes, it's cliche as hell, and you can chalk it up there with the what chant and the Daniel Bryan yes chants and whatever. From the minute Ty Dillinger entered Air Canada Centre on Saturday, anything that involved a count, whether it was a 10 punch in the ropes, whether it was the referee counting somebody out, whether it was somebody breaking a submission, the 10 chants ringing through Air Canada. I know we weren't in the Air Canada Centre tonight because this was in Ottawa, but the Air Canada Centre for TakeOver, for Survivor Series, and for Raw, the 10 counts running through the Air Canada Centre made me smile a whole bunch. It just made me smirk, because those that get it, and those that don't get it, it's going to drive them nuts, and that'll make me smile too, because, as I say, I'm a shitty person. German suplexes by Gable. Gable eats the post on the outside, but hits a backbreaker elbow combination by the Usos. Doomsday Bulldog by American Alpha, and a super kick by Jay. Chop block by Jay, but the Grand Amplitude, despite the chop block, gets the win for American Alpha, who are about to celebrate when we hear the jump scare, and the jump scare shows Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, and Luke Harper up on the Titantron. And they say there's one more team that they have to go through before they get their #1 contendership, which is interesting and, you know, last minute Jones. But I'm looking at it, and Bray Wyatt has always been the spokesperson for a team, you know, Harper, Rowan, Strowman, whoever. So I figured we were going to get Randy Orton and Luke Harper, or something to that effect. But no, it's actually going to be Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt versus American Alpha next week for the #1 contendership to the Tag Team Championships, which is awesome because other members of the Wyatt family, if you look back to your NXT history, your early WWE history, other members of the Wyatt family have held titles. Bray Wyatt has never held a title. Now, if he's going to do it in tandem with Randy Orton, that's friggin' great. But this could be cool. Everybody thought it was a foregone conclusion that American Alpha were going to get a straight shot to the titles eventually after this whole, like, 10 million person tag team was all said and done with. But we could have a ratchet thrown in the plan. If a heel team like Orton and Wyatt come along and take the titles, we could have Alpha chase them into the Royal Rumble. I like this. It's a monkey wrench. They didn't really, until tonight, they didn't really have any aspirations towards the tag team championships. So the out of nowhere, no pun intended, element of this is fucking great. Ambrose shows up to interrupt Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon again. This time he is dressed like the Mountie and spitting out every Canadian cliche you can think of, including calling Shane McMahon a hoser. Shane McMahon loses his shit so much that Daniel Bryan sends him home. And then Dean Ambrose, the Mountie, always gets his man, and he's talking about AJ Styles. And even Daniel Bryan he's laughing, but he's like, dude, you gotta get the hell out of here. Becky versus Natalya with Alexa Bliss on commentary, obviously. Collar and elbow tie up and a head scissor by Becky, a snapmare, boots and slaps by Natty, and an uppercut by Becky. Sit out bomb by Natty and an octopus stretch as we go to commercial break. Discus clothesline by Natty as we come back, a front slam and an elbow by Becky. Rolling clotheslines, lariat, corner forearm, exploder, suplex, what's becoming Becky Lynch's 4 or 5 moves of doom. Sharpshooter by Natalya is countered into the disarmor. Submission win for Becky Lynch, who predictably gets jumped by Alexa Bliss after the match, hits her with a pretty sick DDT. We build to TLC going forward. As I say, throw it in a TLC match. I'll be a happy guy. Either way, I'm glad that this feud will continue. We get 2 more announcements for TLC. Nikki Bella confronts Carmella in the back, assuming that Carmella's the one that took her out at Survivor Series. Carmella says, again, for the heels tonight, something that makes a lot of sense. Hey, if I took you out last night, wouldn't I be taking credit for it? Which is true. Every time she's taken out Nikki Bella, she's all either cut a promo in the back, cut a promo in the ring, interrupted, talking smack, etc. But it's like, you know what? We do have to figure all this shit out. I just went to my brother-in-law, Daniel Bryan. He's granted us a no disqualification match at TLC. Now, is it a tables, a ladders, or a chairs match? No. Does it skew from the gimmick? Yes. No DQ. I got no problem with it whatsoever. The Miz goes to Daniel Bryan and basically does the typical Miz and Daniel Bryan thing. Oh yeah, I'm sure you're going to let your boy get away with this because you're on his team. Roddy Roddy Rah. He super kicked me out of nowhere. And basically Daniel Bryan says, okay, we got the match that's going to end it all. You guys, for the Intercontinental Championship at TLC in a ladder match, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. Kane versus Baron Corbin, because Baron Corbin needs to be punished for picking on little people, apparently. It's a Kane match. It's slow. There's not much to say about it. Kalisto predictably does the run-in, dropkick into a chokeslam. Kalisto then chases Baron Corbin away with a chair. So I wonder where this is going. I will say it's incredibly funny, somebody the size of Baron Corbin running from somebody the size of Kalisto. It's just, even with a chair, it's still funny. Kalisto's literally got to be the smallest guy on the WWE roster, period. But we'll see where that goes in a second. Styles versus Ellsworth in a ladder match for Ellsworth's WWE contract. It's a beatdown by Styles on Ellsworth. That's all you can really say. Ambrose comes out, this time dressed in an Ottawa Senators jersey, which made me smile. They brawl for a bit, but Styles even takes him out with a flying phenomenal forearm. There we go. And it's back to Ellsworth and Styles. Styles climbs the ladder thinking he's got nothing to worry about. Ellsworth tips the ladder, which not only knocks Styles off the ladder, but out of the ring completely. And as he tries to come back in the ring, he hits no chin music, gets Styles' leg caught in the ropes, climbs the ladder, and gets the fucking contract. I smile because I was watching this late. I wasn't on Twitter or anything like that. I still haven't checked Twitter, but I assume people are losing their fucking shit over Ellsworth having another win, having another main event. This is a guy we don't like. How dare he be on TV? Whatever, he ain't gonna get shit. So, and it builds the Styles Ambrose for the next pay-per-view. So, as I said at the beginning of the show, to wash the taste of Survivor Series completely out of our mouths, next week we've got American Alpha versus Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, which is great. Last SmackDown review of the year for me. As you guys know, I go on vacation in December. I don't do any videos. There might be 1 or 2 exceptions, but probably not. And TLC, so far, Kalisto versus Corbin in a chairs match, Nikki versus Carmella in a no DQ match, Becky versus Alexa in a women's title match that I hope gets a stipulation eventually, Miz versus Ziggler continues in an Intercontinental Championship ladder match, and we've got Styles versus Ambrose in a world title TLC match, proving once again that SmackDown on its own is better than Raw. SmackDown on its own is better than a Big 4 pay-per-view. SmackDown on its own is better than a pay-per-view put on by Raw and SmackDown collectively. I dare you to come at me with a legitimate argument down in the box below that refutes any of this. I'll wait. Actually, no, I won't. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
you're a freak